We're very fortunate today to have two UPS senior executives participate in our Tetley Distinguished Leader Lecture Series, and very, very honored to have them both. Let me first just briefly introduce Steve Donovan. Steve, if you'd stand, please. Steve is both Vice President for Compliance and Ethics and Vice President for Internal Audit at UPS. Joined the company, as so many do, during his freshman year in college, where he was sorting packages, and 31 years later, still with the company. So Steve, welcome today, and thank you for being here. I want to also welcome Amy Whitley. Amy is Vice President of Organizational Development for UPS, which hopefully everyone here knows is not only headquartered here in Atlanta, but is also the world's largest package delivery company and a global leader in supply chain management. During her 23-year UPS career, Ms. Whitley has held a variety of positions in small package operations and human resources, as well as in the non-package sectors of the business, including UPS Airline, UPS Capital, and Supply Chain Solutions. Ms. Whitley began her career with UPS as a driver and was promoted to hold a variety of positions over the past 23 years. So we've got two vice presidents of the company, one who began in college as a package sorter and one who began as a driver. And I think, as many of you examine career opportunities, career options, it's a fantastic story to weave and to tell when you can begin a career with a world-class Fortune 50 company, and in the spate of that career end up as, even at this stage of a career, as a vice president of that organization. It's two great success stories. In her current position, Ms. Whitley oversees succession planning, corporate schools and organizational training, executive education, workforce planning, including affirmative action, compliance, employment, and diversity. She's also responsible for UPS's global human resource systems. Her recent projects include the Women's Leadership Initiative, which helps UPS female employees network through an internal system that provides mentoring and panel discussions on work-life issues. This enables the participants to draw support and encouragement from their co-workers while advancing their own careers. Amy's a member of the Human Resource Planning Society and currently serves as a board member of Atlanta-based Inroads Intern, a program which provides corporate intern opportunities for high-achieving minority college students, the Human Resource Leadership Forum, and the Atlanta Women's Network. A native of New York, and I should say Mr. Donovan is a native of Indianapolis. I want to give fair treatment to both great cities. Ms. Whitley holds a BBA in Human Resources from Pace University. She's married and has two children. It's an honor and a privilege for me to introduce both Tetley Distinguished Lecturers, Amy Whitley and Steve Donovan.
At 45.8 degrees latitude and 84.6 degrees longitude, encircled by two arm-like peninsulas, lies Mackinac Island, an enchanting place where 4/5 of the land belongs to nature. No cars or motorized vehicles allowed here. Mackinac consists of about 500 permanent residents who get around the old-fashioned way. UPS is part of this community, and for decades we've been their connection to the outside world.
I'll get it, Mom. Hi, Kyra. Hi, Kim. 3 packages today?
Yes.
What are you sending up?
What are you photograph?
Great.
It's more than just package delivery. Nobody can afford to be isolated in the 21st century. UPS is a boundaryless company that invests heavily in technology, innovation, and training to ensure that nobody is, unless they choose to be. Technology is the backbone that allows us to be the bridge for people and commerce, linking economies and cultures, synchronizing the global movement of goods, information, and funds wherever they are needed, helping us reinvent ourselves time and time again to meet evolving global needs.
It's more than just technology. UPS is the critical link that makes the world's supply chain stronger. We've expanded our expertise to include freight, finance, and supply chain management. From global giants to small businesses, we help manage supply chains while allowing customers to focus on what they do best: develop great products. We put our brand, one of the most respected brands in the world, to work for global customers, delivering advanced solutions to streamline their distribution network so they can get their products to market faster. From laptop repairs for Toshiba in the US to installing X-ray machines for Philips Medical Systems in Europe, UPS helps improve their cash flow, processes, efficiencies, and customer satisfaction experience.
It's more than just supply chain. People the world over seek the opportunity to connect with others, to access information, and empower themselves. Every year, UPS invests more than $300 million in employee training and development. We understand it's the caliber of the diverse people UPS employs and partners with that gives us the flexibility to answer the individual needs of our customers, suppliers, and communities. Because people who thrive on teamwork, honesty, integrity, innovation, and mutual respect keep UPS competitive.
It's more than just exceptional people. The growth of local businesses stimulates the growth of the global economy. To be successful on a global scale, we must first ensure the success of each community in which we operate. At UPS, we believe in fairness, respect, and opportunity for all, progressive environmental practices, and commitment to community, and to one another, encouraging the diverse perspectives of our global community of nearly 400,000 people, putting the power of our network to work for local customers, delivering what matters, where it's most needed, by whatever means necessary, when it's expected,
Brought your package.
and even when it's unexpected. UPS is synchronizing the world of commerce.
Sponsoring Steve and I today, and we've been looking forward to this. It's not every day we get a chance to share a little bit about UPS with such a large crowd as all of you, so we hope you find it helpful. And I think the best part of today will be the question and answer session in the afternoon. And I just want to point out that I really don't have as big of an ego as it may have appeared. You know, my bio, my picture, you know, it's really not all about me. It was I was invited to come and speak, and, you know, as I was looking over the materials, I said, you know, I'd really like to bring my partner Steve Donovan along because of his business expertise, and so it was just kind of a timing thing. But I just wanted to point that out. So I'm looking forward to being here. And between Steve and I, we've got 55 years of experience at UPS, so I think we should be able to answer all the questions, hopefully, that you pitch to us, whether it's on corporate citizenship or anything else that you might want to venture into. And you know, at UPS, we just got done with Christmas, with our peak season, and it was very successful. The economy is doing very well. We were able to serve about 20 out of the top 25 online retailers, and on our busiest day, we delivered 20 million packages. So we've been very busy, and we're pleased for the quick reprieve here we've got now that it's January. What I'd like to do now is test you a little bit on your UPS knowledge. I'm not sure if you understand all of our capabilities. The video showed some of that, but let me just throw out a couple of questions for the group. Any guesses on what you think our annual revenue is? Anyone want to venture a guess? 4 billion. We are at 42.6 billion. Okay, what about our annual delivery volume? Anybody have a feel for that? How many packages do you think that we deliver every year? A lot, right? 3.75 billion packages and documents delivered on an annual basis. And when we think about customers, how many customers do you think that we have on a daily basis? Any idea? Well, this is our daily volume, 14.8 million packages and documents on a daily basis. 7.9 million daily customers, of which 1.8 of those are people that we pick packages up from, and 6.1 are people that we deliver packages to. What about countries? How many countries do you think that we're in? All over. We got a couple of hundred countries that we serve. And what about employees?
400,000.
Very good. Someone was listening on the video. We've got 427,000 global employees. And you know, just when you think about how do we compare as an employer, we're one of the top 3 employers behind McDonald's and Walmart. We've got a website that is one of the top 5 most visited company websites in terms of hits that it gets after places like Target and Walmart and the post office. And in 2006, we received 300,000 employment applications. We hired just over 180,000 people. So we've got a lot going on in the HR group. And then one other fact you might not know, we're an airline, and we're the 8th largest airline in the world. And in terms of technology, when you think about all the packages that we ship and how we utilize technology, we're one of the largest mobile cell phone users. Our network is huge because when you sign for a package, UPS package, you sign on an electronic dyad board, and that's what's used to transmit information, and then that information goes on the website, so when you want to find out where that package is, you can do that. And we get 145 million hits a day on that website. Now let me talk a little bit about what our expanded capabilities are. You saw in the video some pictures of those things, but I'd just like to walk you through some of those examples. We went public in 1999. Since then, and over the last 10 or so years, we've purchased over 30 companies, so that's a lot of integration work. Companies that are big and small in size, Overnight, Menlo, and Fritz, to name a few of the big ones. And the smaller ones had a lot of capabilities that we needed. We've also added a lot of employees to our workforce. So there's a lot of integration work, a lot of OD work when you think about it that way. But in terms of our capabilities, not sure if we have any musicians in the audience. I know the dean has a son who's a musician, but has anyone here ever heard of Fender guitars? Okay, we do some of their distribution work for them. They're based in California, and they have to tune those precision instruments very carefully before those guitars get sent out for delivery. And those musicians are actually on our payroll in our distribution center, tuning the guitars before they go out for shipment and for distribution, for final distribution. What about pizza? I know everybody here loves to eat pizza, and we've all eaten Papa John's pizza probably one time or the other. Those Papa John's tractor trailers that you see on the road, those are actually our drivers that deliver those supplies to Papa John's stores, and then they go into Papa John's stores and they stock those shelves full of the fresh ingredients that makes Papa John's so well known. Cell phone, you've probably ordered a cell phone from a cell phone carrier, and it comes to you, the cell phone is already programmed, it's got your accessories in it. All of that, that's called kitting. We put all the components that are in that cell phone and might come in that package, we put that together in one of our distribution centers, and so when it comes to you, the final customer, it's got everything that you need to have your cell phone working as soon as you pull it out of the box. And then deer stag shoes, I'm not sure if anyone is familiar with those shoes. A lot of retailers sell those shoes. And they were voted Vendor of the Year because of their ability to deliver an effective product, an excellent product, very effectively using our supply chain. UPS participates in the labeling and packaging and shipments of their goods. And then blood donations. I don't know if we've got any blood donors in the room, but we have a facility in Louisville, Kentucky, in our supply chain group that actually works with leading blood supply organizations like the American Red Cross, where we use refrigerated vehicles and refrigerated storage units to keep that blood at a certain temperature. And when you actually open up the door to some of these units, it appears to be snowing. It's so cold in there. So just a couple of interesting tidbits that I thought you might find helpful, that you're not a little bit out of the ordinary from package delivery. And when you watch our commercials and you hear what can Brown do for you, those are some of the things that Brown can do for you. Let me talk for a minute about our culture. We've been in business 100 years. This is our centennial celebration year, so throughout the entire year, we're celebrating our birthday. And Jim Casey was our founder. He started UPS in 1907, delivering messages and packages, whatever needed to be delivered, on a bicycle. And really, the thing that is, I think, the defining principle of our success is our culture. It's very strong at UPS. You see words up here that you're familiar with: integrity, trust, partnership, ethics. And Jim Casey believed in all of those things. He believed in giving back to the community. I want to read to you a quote that he wrote in 1959. I think it's pertinent to the message that we're giving today about business ethics. And this was at our annual management conference in 1959. He stood up in front of the group, and his topic was actually on business ethics. And what he said was, once the people you deal with come to recognize that what you do springs from an honest heart, they will be surprisingly strong in their support of you. They will believe what you say. They will do what you want. They will give you their loyalty, and they will trust and follow you. In short, you will win their confidence, even to the extent that they will forgive whatever mistakes you do make. People will react in these favorable ways only when they have no doubt of your integrity. UPS is a place where ordinary people with honesty of purpose deep down in their hearts have accomplished far more than would have been possible for people of greater natural ability but less integrity. Here we find confidence where there might have been mistrust, cooperation where there might have been dissension, success where there might have been failure. In the hard give-and-take game of business, we have shown that you can play and win without departure from the principles of clean sportsmanship and high morality. For these are the ethics we live by. And I thought that that was very telling. It was written in 1959. That is a pure demonstration of our culture, our beliefs at UPS. And even though our mission may change over the years, our values never change. Now, we may ask ourselves, why do we want to engage in corporate citizenship? Why is it important? And we think about a company's reputation. There's a lot of companies out there that we can all think of that we shop at, we buy items from, and just to name some that have been in the news over time. Walmart being one. They've had issues with their workforce in terms of legal battles, how they're paying them. McDonald's has been targeted as, you know, they need to provide healthier meals for population. Home Depot has been in the news for a lot of different things. One of them is their efforts during Hurricane Katrina and giving back and really being a part of that community. Chick-fil-A is another one. Everybody knows Chick-fil-A is not open on Sunday. Why is that? And they want to make sure that their employees have a day of rest, have a day with their family, and to worship. And so those are things that companies are making a statement about themselves and the kind of corporate citizen that they want to be. But there's been a lot of heat on boards of directors. Even Stephen Jobs has had a lot of attention lately because of issues that they're dealing with, backdating stock options, those types of things. And you know, you think about how we buy products, where we eat, where we go on vacation, the kinds of things that we do. You know, when we go to the grocery store, do you buy your chicken? Is it organic? Is it free range? All those things. Do you eat yogurt? Do you eat a donut? All those things define you, and you're trying to give a message about yourself as well. And you make choices about what kind of companies you want to buy your products from. And there are three things that we really think define corporate citizenship. The one that I'm going to focus on most today is social. And then Steve's going to focus more on economic and environmental. But when we think of social, we think about the reputation of an organization and what they do in the community, what do they do for the people, do they give back, or do they just take? And it's very important from our perspective, and some of the examples that I just gave, that we have an excellent reputation because when we know that you'll want to ship your packages with us, you'll want to do business with us, you'll feel good about that. You know that we're making a difference in the community and providing opportunities for the people that work for UPS. In the economic area, Steve's going to talk about the governance items that have really been under so much attention as of late with Sarbanes-Oxley, you know, trying to provide more guidance for boards of directors. And then in the environmental area, because of the nature of the business that we're in, we consume a large amount of fuel and energy on a daily basis, so we really have to be cognizant of the impact that we're making on the environment as we provide our services. So what makes a socially responsible organization? If we take a look at this list, things like corporate citizenship, we continue to be named year after year on Fortune magazine's America's most admired company, and we rank number one in the area of social responsibility. So that's a very important distinction for us and one that we take great pride in. Being an employer of choice and providing great jobs to people is something that I talked about earlier. We hired 180,000 employees, but it's not just that we hired a lot of people, it's that we gave them really good jobs, and jobs that provide benefits. Whether you are a part-time employee loading packages into one of our trucks in the middle of the night, or whether you're a full-time driver or management employee, whatever your role is, you're getting full benefits. And that's really unusual in this day and age. We're also a unionized company, so we've got a large unionized workforce that we work very closely with. Volunteerism is very important to us, and over the last few years we created an internal tracking mechanism where we can track all of our employee volunteer hours, whether you're out in the community giving back, whether you serve on a board, whether you coach your child's team, all of those things get tracked. We want to be able to not only say that we volunteer, we want to also be able to prove that and demonstrate and track that and have a metric that goes with that. And charitable giving is very important to us. United Way is the organization that we really align most closely with. It's the only organization that we strongly solicit our employees to give to. And we'll talk about that more in a minute. And then health and safety is huge. When you think about our workforce, we've got 88,000 drivers on the road every day. They're logging in 2.4 million miles a year. Over 4,200 of those drivers have been accident-free for at least 25 years, which is really remarkable. We spend $300 million a year just on safety training for our drivers, for our part-timers, for our feeder drivers. it's a big expense. And I don't tell you this because I want to brag about how much money we spend. It has an important factor in how we feel about our communities. We want to remain safe. We want to make sure that while we're driving down the road, that our drivers are acting responsibly and professionally, as well as all of the employees behind the scenes in our hubs. And then lastly, advancement opportunities are extremely important at UPS. We've got primarily a promotion from within model. Steve and I both started at the bottom, worked our way up, and even if any of you come to UPS and you want to get employment after college like I did, we're going to talk to you about your willingness and all the opportunities for you to work and learn the business. And that doesn't mean that we're not going to hire you into your area of specialty, but at some point in your career we're probably going to give you an assignment in one of our operating facilities so that you can really get to know the business. We think that's very important. We've got community initiatives externally that I just want to talk for a moment about. We've got a foundation, the UPS Foundation. It's been around since 1951. UPS has donated $435 million to charities and philanthropic organizations around the world. We've got 3 key initiatives. Hunger, literacy, and volunteerism are the 3 things that we focus on. So when we are out in the community, those are the things we try to focus on. United Way. I mentioned earlier that United Way was very important to us. For the 7th year in a row, UPS was the largest United Way giver, $59.3 million donated by UPS employees for the 7th year in a row. So we're very proud of that. We believe very strongly because we never know when any of us are going to need help, and we think United Way is a good patron of our dollars. Neighbor to neighbor, I said we've got a tracking device for which we can track our volunteer hours. We've got just under 1 million volunteer hours for 2006, which is up about 50% from the year before. So our employees are really out there, they're logging their hours, they're getting involved, they're making a difference. And then every fall we have a Global Volunteer Week, and we've got 50 different countries that are involved in that, over 150,000 employee hours that are tracked during 1 week of Global Volunteer Week. And then disaster relief. We've been very involved in the tsunami. We had $25 million of in-kind contributions made to that. So our vehicles, our airplanes are utilized to help move goods to the required areas. Hurricane Katrina in New Orleans. A lot of effort, a lot of money raised to help the community and the UPS family members as well in those communities. And then we've got a supplier diversity program that we're very proud of. We've got relationships with over 20,000 different businesses across the United States that we partner with in the area of supplier diversity. So we are partnering with minority-owned and women-owned businesses to help them understand how they can become a minority or women-owned business, how they can grow their business, services that UPS can offer to them, and to really help their small company be large. So you can have an operation out of your basement, and you can have a big website, and UPS will come to your house and pick up your packages, and as you grow, we can help grow with you, and we can help manage your distribution and logistics if need be. We can provide you financing. There's all kinds of service offerings that we can give to some of these small companies as they grow bigger and are more successful. So it really does become a partnership. And then when we talk about internal communities, we're so big, 400,000 employees, we've got a community within UPS. And when we talk about talent, managing our talent, how do we do that? Again, large expense, about $400 million spent on training, annual training for all of our employees. We really believe in continuous learning. This morning I was addressing a group of 21 UPS internal managers who are going to go out over the next year. They're on special assignment and they are going to teach corporate schools. So we don't hire outside instructors and facilitators to teach our progressive learning schools. We use that as a developmental opportunity for our leaders of the organization. They get to go on this special assignment for up to a year. They're assigned a location. They're away from their family for 3 weeks at a time. and they teach our internal classes. We also have a really neat program that helps develop our managers, and it gives back to the community, called the Community Internship Program. It's in 4 locations around the country, and I had the opportunity to participate 15 years ago in this. It's called Community Internship Program. It's been around since 1968, and we've put about 1,300 of our executives through this program. For 1 month, about 6 executives from UPS come together at one of these locations, and they live and work in this community and help underprivileged members of that community. So they get involved in teaching, helping with the elderly, whatever the issues of that community might be. We're very involved. We've got coordinators in those locations to help lead what we call our interns to where the most help needed areas of that community are. And it's really a great way for them to give back, to use their leadership skills, and to develop their skills, and they bring it back, and they're, we believe, a much richer leader as a result of that experience. And then when it comes to diversity, we've got 2 components of our diversity council, supplier diversity and workforce diversity. And so I'm involved in both of those, but primarily my focus is on workforce diversity. And we're very proud of the accomplishments that we've been able to make. And we have had this renewed focus this year on the women's leadership program, which we really think is going to help propel us into a lot of different areas on a level of diversity. And then when it comes to education programs, we've been involved since 1999 in providing tuition assistance to part-time employees as well as full-time employees. But we've got a program for part-time employees that gives them tuition assistance, $3,000 and a lifetime max of $23,000 in education aid. So it's a great way for kids like you that are in school, come to work for UPS, you're going to school, you have a great job, and you're getting tuition paid for as well. So we believe it's a real win-win for us. At this point, Steve's going to come up. He's going to focus on the economic aspects of the corporate citizenship, and then we'll take questions after that.
So good afternoon, everybody. I don't know if you can hear me as I step away from that microphone. Hopefully you can. If you can't, in the back, you can give me the high sign. But Amy talked about social responsibility. I want to pick it up and talk about the last 2 components that help make a corporation a good corporate citizen in the world that we live in. First being the economic piece. So first I want to start with transparency. And if you would, in your mind, think of your definition of transparency. Okay, you're probably thinking ability to see through, or because I'm kind of a picture guy, if you'll picture a Tupperware container with food in it, do you want to eat it? Well, you would need to be able to look inside of it. Well, if you would for a second, picture an aquarium. If you wanted to invest in a company, or you wanted to work for a company, put that company inside of the aquarium. Can you see it? Can you see enough to make good decisions about that company? So UPS is extremely transparent. When you talk about transparency, you have to ask, well, who do we care about seeing us? Well, it's our people that work for us, it's our investors, it's the government, it's the communities we deal with. So transparency isn't pick and choose, it's making yourself visible to anybody that cares about why you exist in our world. Transparent about what? Well, our numbers. How are we doing financially in the past? What are we saying about our future? A good investor is going to ask about where we've been as well as where we're going. How about legal issues? We need to show openly what legal concerns we have as an organization, so somebody coming to work for us, or somebody wanting to ship with us, or somebody wanting to invest in us gets a feel for what our exposure is as an organization. How about some of our initiatives? Where's management going with the company? Would you want to go to work for a company or invest in a company if clearly management couldn't articulate, here's where the puck is going on the ice? How does a company make itself transparent? Well, there's required disclosures. Each quarter we have to file a 10K that opens up to the SEC and other government agencies that look at how companies are governing themselves. And we have to show all of this, where we've been, where we're going, etc. There's management discussion and analysis in your 10K and your 10Qs that help the reader understand what management thinks about the trends in our performance. All things that make us more transparent from a financial view. We've got internal and external communications. We have a very robust website that employees, customers, and you can get to that helps give you insight into what UPS is all about. Jump down to, just before I do that, just a quick quote from a book. I'm intrigued by the business books you have the opportunity to read. Stephen Covey has written a book, several, The Speed of Trust. Here's his views on transparency. Tell the truth in a way that people can verify. Be open and authentic. Err on the side of disclosure. Operate on the premise that what you see is what you get. Don't have a hidden agenda. Don't hide information. Good advice to live by, whether you're running a company or dealing with others in your community, your families, etc., about what you're doing and why. If I jump down to responsible governance, and again, kind of a picture. If you'll picture a table that holds everything you saw in the video that we just opened, and on that table is UPS, governance is intended to keep that table level. Picture 4 legs on that table, okay? Governance is about who's really in charge. What's working together to keep that table level, and what happens if one of those 4 legs shortens or increases in length? We get off level and things start sliding off this level playing field that we've got. So the 4 pillars of governance is your management. How good is management at the company you're investing in that you're working for? How good is the board of directors? That independent group who's paid to hire and fire your management, weigh in on their compensation, listen with an external objective view of what the company is planning on doing, etc. Then you've got your internal audit group and your external audit group, all working together to make sure that the transparency the company's put out there, that the management oversight of the business processes that are providing you employment or you a return on your investment or service to the community is in fact being kept level. Then lastly, value. Picture, if you would, the scales of justice, and in one bucket you've got corporate profits. And in the other bucket you've got all these other responsibilities we have, the social ones that Amy talked about, as well as the environmental ones. What happens to companies that get out of balance? What if all they care about is making money? It's profit, it's profit, it's profit. You picture that scale getting extremely out of balance, and what starts happening? The pollution they're adding to the world, the disaster they're causing in communities, etc., all goes awry. Well, in the other bucket, you've got things that have to be managed because you're trying to make money optimally and efficiently. We have to care. We can't avoid pollution. If you're living and breathing in the United States or any place in the world, you're probably creating some pollution. So how does a company try and improve the bottom line at the same time, improve the ways that we can impact and decrease and minimize some of the bad effects of being in business? So the trick to being a good corporate citizen is finding balance in the money you want to make and the things you have to do that's good for the community. As introduced, I've got responsibility for the compliance and ethics department. And this is from the compliance and ethics mission statement. And won't dwell a lot on it, but if you break that mission statement down into bites, promote an organizational atmosphere, not a policing mechanism, but a mindset, thought leadership that causes people, the atmosphere, to protect our legacy. 100 years of trust, of big ground. Worldwide, when they say UPS, it's trust. Trust that we'll get the packages there and do what we've promised. It doesn't matter where that violated trust is in Indianapolis, Indiana, or Taipei. Our brand is at risk. So we're protecting an atmosphere that protects our legacy of trust by ethical conduct and supports full compliance. Not the laws that we think we want to apply with, not the laws that are easiest to get to, but full compliance with all legal and regulatory requirements and UPS policies throughout all UPS business units. Not just the pickup and delivery piece, but all the other services that we provide, because our brand and the trust our consumers and our employees have in our brand is driven by all of it, not just the pick and choose. Ethical culture now, more and more because of the events in the late 90s and early 2000s, are required by law. The U.S. Federal Sentencing Guidelines that came out in '92 require corporate America to be able to demonstrate worldwide, wherever they operate, that we have effective compliance programs in place. It's not acceptable to say, oh, we didn't know we were breaking the law, or other people are doing it too. You have to be able to demonstrate to the government, when under scrutiny, that you have mechanisms in place that keeps your company in check. There's some great reads out there. Not to give you more reading assignments, but Integrity Works and the Integrity Advantage by Dana Telford. There's No Such Thing as Business Ethics by John Maxwell. The key takeaway from his book is that there's a golden rule in the Christian faith. There's the same rule that's very similar to that one in 9 other of the most major religions worldwide. It all comes back to do to others what you would want them to do to you. It's a great read and a tie into business. Winners Never Cheat by John Hansman, and The Transparent Leader by Herb Baum. All great reads that tie ethical behavior in the corporate world, and should be very, very important to you as you look at your current employers or where you're going as you get out of school. A couple quick quotes. Warren Buffett, CEO and chairman of one of the wealthiest men in the world of Berkshire Hathaway, if you lose dollars for the firm, I will be understanding. If you lose reputation for the firm, I will be ruthless. Because he knows that the value impact of that throughout everything he owns is at risk if his reputation sinks. And from Aristotle, going back a few more years than that, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence or ethics is not an act, but a habit. And very, very true, I think. Okay, UPS, we have a business code of conduct, and I encourage you at your current employer, encourage you at future employers, encourage you at companies you're about to start and lead in your careers to challenge the business code of conduct. It's typically not a book of procedural from A to Z. It's a book about what we believe as an organization and how that should impact you as you deal with your employees, your communities, your customers, etc. You will learn a lot about my company if you go onto our website and look at our code of conduct. And again, you'll learn about any other company that you work for in the future by looking at their code of conduct and how well management executes. That all gets back to this equation of keeping things in balance as a corporate citizen. Worldwide, we've had to deploy this in 12 different languages. As you see those listed, that's one of our biggest corporate challenges right now, is taking the UPS literature and the UPS beliefs that's US-based and adjust them in the right language and right cultural messages worldwide, because again, our brand risk and exposure is in every country in the world. We've got very robust training that links back to our compliance and ethics group, antitrust, how we deal with competition, how we deal with our customers, anti-corruption, what are the rules about dealing with government entities and preventing fraud, and what should our customers and our investors' expectation be about our ability to prevent corruption within UPS because of the tremendous impact it has to the bottom line. Information use and security compliance. Extremely big exposure for corporate America right now in email traffic. Who can get to your websites? Who can get to the data that you keep that's near and dear to your business plan? Insider trading compliance, government contracts. Again, all areas that if mismanaged and go awry can impact your reputation as a company and get your corporate citizenship in a tailspin, to say the least. We've got over 400,000 employees, and I will tell you that since I started this sentence, a law has been broken by one of them. Okay, it could be a parking violation, somebody just backed into a mailbox, somebody may have just pocketed merchandise out of a package. Laws, rules, and regulations across the world, it's almost impossible for management to provide 100% oversight of everything going on with the planes, trains, and automobiles that you've seen in the movie. We've got a UPS helpline. Part of Sarbanes-Oxley requires corporations to publicly file to have access to its employees so that they can anonymously voice their concerns. It's a tremendously big piece of our governance program. Worldwide, 24/7, in 88 countries, in 71 languages, you can call a number. If anybody can read this poster, you can tell me what country it's from. Then I'll guess and say Malaysia if nobody's reading it. I just had to grab one at random. But worldwide, we have to have visibility to our employees and our suppliers and our customers so that they know if somebody at UPS hasn't lived up to our committed behavior, they have a voice that will be reacted to without fear of retaliation. And that UPS helpline does that. There's some economic highlights that are signs and indicators that your company is secure. We've got big corporations, obviously, here in Atlanta. Our friends at Delta, I think, have had great management, but they've been bit by 9/11 and fuel prices, etc. But what's happening with employee benefits and concerns and Delta's potential impact to the community as their financials have weakened across not just Delta, but other airlines and other companies you can think of. UPS is very proud of our economic and financial strengths. We're one of the 6 or 7 companies that receives Moody's AAA rating. Our compound annual growth rate has been over 11%. Our earnings per share has increased 62% from $2.14 in 2002 to $3.47 last year. Our cash dividends have increased 93%. All indicators that a company is generating what it needs to keep that one bucket in balance of providing what our employees expect us to provide. But it goes past that. What makes, in addition to social and economic or financial responsibility, what makes a company a good citizen? What gets you an A in citizenship? Well, you got to be concerned about your impact on the environment. Because we roll, fly, or float through so many countries, think of the natural resources we're consuming, the water, the natural gas, the electricity, the diesel fuel, the jet fuel. It is expected of us to do that as optimally and as effectively as we can. We have to develop innovative solutions. You can't make that usage go away, but you can minimize it. You can look for things that changes your company's business process behavior that result in a much greener outcome. You have to move goods responsibly. We have to protect the health and safety of our employees, our customers, and the communities we serve in. Amy mentioned how many millions of dollars we spend annually to train our people thoroughly. When we don't train our people thoroughly because of where we're flying and driving our equipment, we put a lot of people at risk, so it's very important to us. Think about, with all the packages we've delivered, with all the trucks, planes, etc. that we're moving, how much waste are we creating? And what can UPS do to still earn that profit that's important to its communities and employees, but minimize or manage what happens with the waste? Some of those activities, alternative fuels. We have more than 1,500 fuel vehicles in use that has compressed natural gas. We're trying solar power in Southern California. It's providing 70% of our power to some of our locations there. We're looking at how to reduce emissions. We've tried some things in California that's now resulting in savings of waste of over 2.4 million pounds of carbon dioxide a year. We've reduced mileage by some of our technology. By better routing our drivers, etc., we can take vehicles and gas usage out. We've reduced 100 million miles annually in the last 2 years. That saves 14 million gallons of fuel. So the list goes on and on of things big companies have to do to still compete, keep it in balance, but save the economy and save the environment. UPS is a recognized sustainability leader. We're trying to get better at bragging about this, okay, but it's a fine line with us. There's a lot of things we do well as a company that we do aggressively. We do it because it's the right thing to do, and we've not done it to try and accomplish spotlights or applaud. However, it's a fine balance because how well you do some of this thing becomes a competitive advantage, and it affects your reputation and how you're viewed in the marketplace. I've rolled a little quickly through the last slide because I want to leave some time for some questions. This is kind of the closure of corporate citizenship. Companies have to take a long-term view. You see some companies trying to do things from quarter to quarter, from period to period. that only hurts them in the long run. You can put yourself in the trick bag by thinking short term. You have to report annually on how well you're doing on some of this stuff. When you leave, there'll be a stack of our corporate sustainability reports in the back that you can take with you. I encourage you to grab it because as you advance in your careers and you look at other companies, you'll be able to challenge them on what they're doing in their corporate citizenship and compare it to UPS. Keep both internal and external focus. And lastly, companies have to look for ways to partner. You can't master all this with an internal mentality. And there's great organizations and great sharing forums out there that helps corporations improve themselves. We've got just a couple seconds for questions, and because anytime I am going to answer questions of my senior in college son, I buy clothing for him. When you leave, there's a UPS t-shirt you can take. That's a small bribe to be nice to him after a couple questions. Because I do have some experience in answering questions with my senior in college son, the answer is no, no, no. If your question is, can I have more money? Can I go to Europe for a year? When I graduate, can I move back home? So, with open floor in just a couple minutes, can I entertain any questions for Amy or I relative to UPS? Yes, ma'am.
With all your emphasis on ethics and doing the right thing in the company, what do you do on the front end to screen people coming in the door to get at that?
Well, that's it. The question was, what do we do to screen employees? You know, we talked about all those 180,000 employees that we hire. That's a big process, and we just automated that process. And so we have a fully automated employment process, so it's all done online now. It took out a lot of redundancies, and we are very thorough in all the background checks that we have to do. I think it's something like 36 different background checks that we do, depending on, not on every person, but depending on what job you're going to do. So if you're a driver and you have to meet DOT standards versus, you know, a loader, you might have less standards that you have to meet versus someone who's going to handle money. So it just depends on the job that the person's going to do, but we've got a very extensive process in place. Yes.
You mentioned commitment to the community, and with security playing a greater role in our society today, how is UPS integrating that into the packaging process and securing shipment and packaging?
Yeah, we work very closely with the TSA. We have a group in Louisville that's constantly looking at the logistics of package movement within UPS, not only within the U.S., but between countries. They'll help us beta test screening devices. We have x-ray equipment in some very, very high-risk countries where we know the threats to others could exist to use our system. So we have a whole group based out of Louisville, mostly deals with FAA, but does work with the TSA and trying to make sure UPS is ahead of the game in protecting our communities by what we take into our system. A very big known shipper program. We have to watch our shipping points, our origin points, and make sure that the processes in place screen who's putting packages into our system. Yes, sir.
As both of you are examples of it, what other programs do you have to recruit management from within the ranks?
Good question. We have a self-identification process where you can send a letter to management expressing your desire to be promoted from within. We have a website called upsjobs.com, I believe, that has open jobs that not only internal employees can reference, but external as well.
Yeah, and the other thing that we're working on, because we do promote exclusively from within, and because our leadership is known that we've all come up from within, there's a strong word-of-mouth phenomenon as well. But the other thing that we recognize as an issue is when we hire someone day one, we need to have access to them so that they can be informed about opportunities at UPS. And so we're currently working on a strategy and a program where we can have an early identification of talent system so that when you start, you know, within your first few days of employment, you can go on this system and you can learn about UPS, you can register what your interests are, where you're going to school, what your major is, what things you think you might like to do, what things you might like to find more about, so that we can create a database so that we can start going into that and recruiting talent as we need it internally, because right now we don't have that sufficiently in our current HR database. So that's something we're working on. Good question. Yes?
You stress one of the biggest factors of being a successful corporate citizen is the way employees and management work together. You stress
If there were not what?
Unions within your company.
My personal opinion is absolutely, I do think that. We've got strong relations with our union as well as our non-union population. And when we started out with the Teamsters Union, it was our founder who invited them in to be a part of UPS. We welcomed them to UPS. We wanted to have a partnership. And that was in the day, think about it, when unions were very important, they were very big. And so it was actually our idea to have our employees be represented by a union, and it's something that we continually work on. It's continually a challenge for us because we've got, anyone that touches a package, basically, a package that's in a cardboard box is a unionized employee. But then we've got all those distribution centers that I talked about, and Fender guitars and cell phones and that kind of thing, that they're actually touching the product before it goes into that box. Those are all non-union environments, and so we have a huge program in terms of making sure that we maintain that non-union status in those work environments, because we recognize it's very important if Fender guitars or Sprint or Adidas, whoever the company is that's outsourced that distribution work to UPS, whoever they are, they don't want a unionized workforce. They don't want it associated with their company, so it's a business scenario that we have to deal with. And companies have told us, you've got to maintain that non-union on the front line. And our union, the Teamsters Union, understands that. We're doing a big job right now trying to educate them early before our contract expires in 2008 and make sure that they understand all these issues so that we don't have any disruption in service. But I do think that we do an excellent job regardless of whether our workers are represented by a union or not.
No more questions, and we thank you for your attention.
Steve and Amy, I want to, on behalf of the Coles College, I want to thank you both very much for a great lecture. I want to thank all of you for coming, and have a good semester. Thank you both.
Thank you. And grab that t-shirt.